Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk about something that is really going to show the double standard inside the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office, right? A while back, I had filed open records, probably like last year, whenever this first happened. And I thought that they had given me every internal affair report or like the incident face sheets for each thing Mills had done before in his career with Cherokee County. There was like 6 or 7 of them. But the more I was posting, the more people were coming to me and we were having conversations. And I found some discrepancies because there were some people that were telling me that this happened and this happened. And I'm like, well, I don't have the report for that. I never heard of that. So last week I filed another open records and I was very specific about what I was requesting. And what they gave me was interesting. So going through the internal affair reports, what really stood out to me was from July 2018 involving Deputy Aaron Mills. When you compare what happened to him versus what's happening to other deputies like Cynthia Jodeci, it really makes you question how discipline is being handled in this department by leadership because there's discrepancies. So let me break this down to you. Back in July of 2018, a deputy by the name of Kurtz Garfield reported that he saw Aaron Mills, who was off duty at the time, driving his personal vehicle, which was a gray Ford Mustang, I believe, and he had an open container of alcohol. So, reading the report, it says that Mills had pulled up to Garfield at, I believe it was a red light on Sixes Road and Ridge Road, looked at Garfield and said, "What are you going to do, copper?" while holding up in Blue Moon, I believe it was, and shook it at him and then drank it right in front of him. Um, Garfield says that he immediately recognized it as a beer bottle because he could read the label and he noticed that the lid was off of it. So then he said by that time traffic had already built up and I guess he was going straight and Mills turned. So Mills turned and he wasn't able to turn behind him. Garfield then called Mills and confronted him about it over the phone, and Mills denied it and tried to change the subject. It wasn't until later that Mills finally admitted what it was that he had done. And this ended up leading to an internal affairs investigation. And I want to read a portion of the synopsis that Deputy Garfield gave because, I mean, this is something else. It says on July 6, 2018, at approximately 17:55 hours, I was driving east on Sixes Road. I stopped before the red light at Sixes Road and Ridge Road. I was sitting with about 10 other cars. While awaiting the light to turn green, I noticed Deputy Aaron Mills beside me. Aaron was waving at me. I rolled down my window and we began to talk. I noticed a female in the passenger seat of his Ford Mustang, and I said to Aaron, "Huh, I know why you didn't want that overtime today." We both laughed, and Aaron said, "What are you going to do, Copper?" as he lifted up a bottle of beer with his right hand and held it towards the opening of his driver window. I immediately recognized the bottle as Blue Moon brand of beer. I could clearly read the label, and I noticed the twist off cap was not on the top. The red light turned to green and traffic began to move. Aaron laughed and quickly turned right onto Ridge Road. Traffic filled his position, and I had no choice but to drive east on Sixes Road. I drove a few miles and pulled over. I called Aaron on my cell phone and said, "What the fuck are you doing?" Aaron asked what I was talking about. I said, "I saw the beer. Are you seriously drinking and driving?" Aaron stated he wasn't and he did not know what I was talking about. I said, "Why are you driving with an open container?" Aaron said, "I'm not." Aaron immediately began talking about work, tried to turn the conversation away from him. I stopped asking questions, got off the phone after a few minutes. I drove towards the direction where Aaron may have driven, and I was not able to see him again. After a few moments of catching my thoughts, I contacted Sergeant Azaroff and notified him of the incident and my actions. One of my concerns of this incident was if a civilian saw Aaron flashing a beer at a patrol car and the patrol car didn't stop him, This is extremely unprofessional of Aaron, and he put me in a horrible position. I do not know if Aaron was driving under the influence of alcohol. However, he was driving with an open container of alcohol in his hand. Please let me know if you have any questions. So, like I said, this triggered an internal affairs report, right? And it got back to Lieutenant Barone. And what Lieutenant Barone wrote in his synopsis was as follows. On July 9th, 2018, I interviewed Deputy Aaron Mills in the Internal Affairs Office. I asked Deputy Mills if he had any idea why I asked him to the Internal Affairs Office this morning. He told me he had no idea, but he was anxiously awaiting to be told the reason. I asked him if he remembers driving on Sixes Road and then pulling up to a patrol vehicle at the intersection of Ridge Road. Deputy Mills told me he does know what I was referring to. He told me he pulled up to his friend and coworker, Deputy Garfield. I then supplied him with a copy of the allegation as well as a copy of the employee's duties and rights during an internal investigation. I read him the Cherokee Sheriff's Office Internal Affairs Memorandum and Internal Investigation Warning, the Garrity Warning. Deputy Mills stated he had just purchased a six-pack of Blue Moon beer and he was heading to JD's barbecue with his girlfriend. JD's barbecue is located at the Old Blue Cat Lounge off of Bells Ferry Road. This restaurant currently took residency there and was yet to obtain their liquor license. Therefore, they allow BYOB, bring your own beer. So Deputy Mills stated he had already had the bottle of beer open and had consumed a portion of it prior to seeing Deputy Garfield on Sixes Road. When he pulled along Deputy Garfield's patrol vehicle, he said something to Deputy Garfield as he lifted the bottle of beer and took a sip out of it. This action allowed Deputy Garfield to view the open container as well as the consumption of alcohol. Deputy Mills does not remember what he said to Deputy Garfield prior to taking that sip. I'm sure he doesn't. Anyway, Deputy Mills said he and his girlfriend then went to JD's barbecue, but it was too crowded, so they decided to go to the other JD's barbecue location, which is located off of Bells Ferry Road near Town Lake Parkway. Prior to going to this JD's barbecue, he and his girlfriend went to the Goodwill store located off Bells Ferry Road. This is when he received a phone call from Deputy Garfield. Deputy Mills and Deputy Garfield confronted him about the open container of alcohol in his motor vehicle. This is when Deputy Mills realized Deputy Garfield did not find this to be funny or a joke. I asked Deputy Mills why he showed Deputy Garfield the open beer bottle. He said he thought it would be funny to show the beer to Garfield as he took a sip of it. Do you know that if I showed an open beer to a Cherokee County Sheriff's deputy on the road, if I just envision this, we just pull up beside him and I'm drinking and driving and I have an open container and I hee hee ha ha thought it would be funny to hold it up and wave it and take a sip and take off? Okay, anyway. Deputy Mills understands he used poor judgment and how his actions placed a coworker in an unnecessary ethical dilemma. Deputy Mills told me his actions were pretty messed up and understands he needs to be more accountable and not to place himself in a situation that could tarnish his reputation and, more importantly, the reputation of the Cherokee Sheriff's Office. I think he's already completed that mission. Yet, for some reason, Cherokee County Sheriff's Department decides to keep him around. I wonder if it's got something to do with maybe information he knows about other people. I don't know, just speculation. I asked Deputy Mills how much of the beer he consumed while operating his vehicle. He believes he drank most of the beer prior to getting to the JD's barbecue near Town Lake Parkway. I asked him if he had another beer while he was driving after eating at JD's barbecue. Deputy Mills said he believes he did, but does not know how much of that beer he drank. So he's could you imagine just being able to sit down and be that honest, knowing that you could just when you can break all these crime or break all these laws and then you can be honest about it because you're gonna walk out of there with a slap on the wrist? So they ruled Cherokee County Sheriff's Office policy states unbecoming conduct. Employees shall conduct themselves at all times, both on and off duty, in such a manner as to reflect most favorably on the agency. Conduct unbecoming shall include that which tends to discredit or cause the public to lose confidence in the agency or Cherokee County government, which is prejudicial to good order. By Deputy A. Mills' own admission, he had consumed an open container of alcohol while he was in operation of his personal vehicle. Therefore, the allegation Deputy Mills violated the Cherokee Sheriff's Office Code of Conduct policy is sustained. What about the laws that he broke, Lieutenant Barone? Here's the thing. He was only disciplined administratively for a policy violation. There was no criminal charges filed against him for driving with an open container, which is actually a misdemeanor in Georgia. And from what I can see in the report, this case was never sent to post either. So let's compare this to what happened with Deputy Cynthia Jodeci just recently. She was arrested and charged with a felony violation of oath of office, plus a misdemeanor for improperly accessing and retaining license plate reader data. She was fired and she was booked into the jail. And while what she did was wrong, it's hard not to notice the difference in how these situations are being handled or have been handled. Mills was caught drinking and driving, showed it to another deputy, initially lied about it, then admitted to doing it, and then admitted to do it again at a totally different time and still only received internal discipline. Josie gets hit with a felony and is arrested, and we're supposed to believe that this system is somehow fair. It's even more frustrating when you remember that Aaron Mills has a reputation of aggressively arresting people for DUI less safe, right? Even when they're completely sober. There are multiple complaints, and there's body cam videos where he's accused of making DUI arrests without probable cause. So when the same deputy who loves to arrest people for these DUIs gets caught drinking and driving himself and basically just gets a slap on the wrist, I don't know about y'all, but for me, it sends a very, very clear message. And the message is that there's one set of rules for regular people and another set of rules for certain deputies inside Cherokee County Sheriff's Department. This is the same department that claims to care about accountability and public trust. But when one of their own is caught breaking the law, especially something as serious as drinking and driving, they handle it quietly and internally instead of treating it the way they would treat any other citizen. And that would be putting us in handcuffs and taking us to jail. And let's not forget, this isn't the only time that Mills has been accused of serious misconduct, okay? We've seen the body cam footage. We've seen the reports involving him unlawfully entering my home, falsifying information, and other issues that have never resulted in real consequences. It seems to me that anytime a certain deputy in that department does something that should have led to criminal charges and being fired, it doesn't happen. And I don't know why, because there's more to come on more officers. But anyway, so I have to ask, when is this department actually going to start holding everyone to the same standard as they do us? Because they're law enforcement, they're supposed to be way up here above us. Right now, it looks like if you're connected or protected, you get a pass. But if you're not, they'll throw the book at you. So I'm going to keep reading through these reports. I've filed lots of open records. I'm still waiting on them, and I'm going to try to keep bringing you facts and transparency because you guys, the public, deserve to know how our sheriff's office is really operating, not what they want you to see and or think. So let me know what you think in the comments. Do you believe that this kind of discipline is fair? Because I don't. Or does it show exactly why people have lost their trust in Cherokee County Sheriff's Department? Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.